Hey Grant, how are you?
Hey, doing well. How are you?
I am awesome. First, I just want you. Well, first, I want to say thank you for taking the time to be here today. I truly appreciate it. I know this is a busy time for everybody, so I appreciate you for taking a few moments to be here with us today.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course. So, first, if you just want to kind of introduce yourself, and then we'll go into some questions.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm Grant Marshall. I live here in Midland and work for the city of Midland as the director of planning and community development. I've actually been with the city since 2013, so just over eight
Oh, I
years
didn't realize it was
in
that
that
long.
role.
Wow.
Mhm.
No, I didn't realize it had been that long. Wow.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's been a bit of time. I guess when I first started, I was the community development planner, and then in 2017 is when I started in the director of planning and community development.
Awesome, awesome. And you're definitely doing some amazing things. So appreciate you for what you're doing. So my first question for you is, let's see. I think this is a good one. What's something you wish you would have known at the beginning of your career?
Yeah. That's a very good question. I'd say that one thing I wish I would have known a little bit more that I've had to really learn as I've gone along is how to be um, affirming of what you're doing. When you move
Mhm.
from sort of an academic or a school setting, you're always doing something that ends up with a grade. And when
Yeah,
you get into the workforce, few people are going to grade you after everything you do. And so eventually you can either get to a point where you're second guessing whether or not you're doing things correctly,
yeah,
or you can assume that no news is good news. Or you can start to really track kind of feedback that you get from your boss or your superior, and even if it's limited, you can really start to use that as a way to know that you're on the right path and doing things correctly.
oh, sure. Yeah. Wow. That's a great, I didn't even think about that, in regards to, like you said, when you get out of the academic part, uh, people do, you always get a grade. So you kind of can gauge, right, where you are in that moment, right?
Yep.
But when you become an adult, when you just like are out in the world, nobody grades us, right? And we typically become the ones that grade ourselves. And we aren't always so kind to us. Do you agree?
It's true. Yeah, we can be rather critical of ourselves. I
Yeah.
know I certainly am. I'm still rather critical, and definitely was more and more early on. But I think you have to learn and figure out different ways to find that feedback and
Sure.
kind of affirm um, and really learn about your own intentions. If you're doing things with the right intentions, if you're trying to think critically about how it's impacting other people around you, all of that are ways that you can really use to figure out whether or not you're on the right path or if you really should switch it up and go about it in a different way.
Yeah, 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 and validate yourself, right? You can validate yourself and say, you know what, I'm doing well. I like how you talked about intentions too. Like when you know that you're going into it with a pure heart and good intentions, you can
Mhm.
rest in that, right? You can be okay with that. Because if you're like me, I'm an overthinker, so sometimes I do overthink things, and if I don't hear anything, I'm like, I'm plugging in sound bites. So I think that we do have to get back to the idea of to say, you know what, I'm doing well. I'm doing
Yep.
okay. Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
like that. So my other question for you is, what's one thing you would tell your younger self?
hmm I would say to be okay with taking a little bit of risk.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
yeah, I think sometimes, I mean, I'm a planner, so I like to plan out. I like to think about kind of where things are going to lead me into the future. And sometimes that has led me to not um, step out of my comfort zone as much,
yeah, yeah,
which it has forgone some experiences that I maybe would have had if I would have been a little bit more riskier or open to those things. And so I'd say be calculated in the risks that are being taken, but maybe be a little bit more available to put yourself out there and experience something that's maybe a little bit different than what's always been known.
oh, that's good. So do you find that you try to be a little bit more spontaneous now than what you used to be?
I do, and I've always been spontaneous when it comes to like going on trips or maybe
Mm.
even like day trips or kind of that type of thing. But not always in maybe like a friendship or like a mentorship type of way. Maybe more relationally, I guess is kind of where
Yeah,
I've been a little bit more reserved
yeah,
because I've been always so um, kind of curious how other people may perceive me or judging me and that type of thing. So I think as I've gotten older, I've been able to be a little bit more calculated and a little bit more open, and vulnerable, I guess maybe is the right word,
That is,
in
yeah, yeah.
relationship with other people. Hmm.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. I like that. I like that piece of advice because we have to put ourselves out there sometimes, and just kind
Yeah.
of take that risk. And I always tell myself, the worst someone can tell me is no, right? No, I don't want to like you said, be friends with you, or no, I don't want to do this with you, or no, you
Yep.
can't have this, or no, I won't help. And once you learn to accept that word no, even from yourself, once you learn to accept it, you can really definitely cross some obstacles a lot easier. I feel when you're okay with hearing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. And it's kind of linked to my first answer, which is being okay to kind of affirm yourself. If you're looking
Yes.
for kind of the affirmation or the approval of others,
Yeah.
it's hard when you don't have a lot of your own kind of cheerleading that can lead you through the times where maybe you are hearing no,
Yeah.
or maybe you're hearing not yet, or some of those things that require a bit of patience.
Yes. Which is
Yep.
something that I have worked on in my life because I like stuff to just like once I get an idea or a vision or dream of something, I wanted to just kind of like happen. So I had to learn to understand the process and understand that things happen at different times. And like you said, it's not no, it's just not yet. And I had to learn that. So that was definitely a test for me to like really be able to navigate through that.
Yeah.
Um, so I want to ask you too, what's something in this life that brings you joy?
Yeah. I would say definitely family, friends, but I think maybe something that's a bit more unique to me would be traveling.
Yeah,
Um,
you do
just
travel,
kind of
yeah.
getting out and experiencing something a little bit different,
Yeah.
um, and just having like a different scenery around. I've always found that to be very freeing and very kind of opening of a
It's
perspective.
therapeutic. Yeah, it's therapeutic for me.
Therapeutic for sure. Oh, I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
but like you were saying that, I'm sorry I cut you off, but you were saying about different perspective because you're able to see different cultures and different walks of life and just be able to appreciate that we're different, right? And everybody doesn't act like us, think like us, talk like us, and that's okay. And I think it's
Yep.
healthy to see that and be a part of that.
100%.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. Okay, so my next question for you is how have you intentionally showed up and helped to bring change in the world?
Yeah. I think a lot of the work I've done for the city has focused on a number of different areas, but one is in particular that I think I'm um, rather happy with the results has been around housing. We have still a long way to go in Midland to deal with some of the housing challenges that are going on. But when I look back at the landscape of housing providers and the collaboration around housing, it's really started to grow and expand and evolve. And I've felt very fortunate to be part of that work.
Yeah,
And that's involved a number of organizations and a number of great people that are very passionate about it too. And I know,
yeah,
Aaron, you being on the city's housing commission, you're definitely part of that group as
yeah,
well. And so I do feel like we've made a lot of progress in that way, and we still have a lot of space to go and a lot of area to grow. Um, but I know that we've got the right kind of people and the right kind of roadmap to get us there.
yes, yeah. I mean, and what we us them all of us, what we do is just so necessary, right? I mean, when you really look at the studies and you really even when you look at different other cities and what they're doing and you see how they're making change, you realize the importance, and then too when you know someone or have been someone that under like have not had housing like that's one of the very few things that we all should be able to have, right? Is a clean, safe house or a roof over our head to be able to
Yep.
live in. And when people don't have that, it's just so disheartening for me. It's like if anything, they should have that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So we have to continue to fight for that and to encourage other people to see the necessity in that fight.
Yep. I completely agree.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
it's so important. So important. So let's see. Then I'm going to ask you if you have some words of encouragement to leave with us, what would they be? And I feel like I keep asking everybody this question at the end, but you guys give me so much throughout. But if you wanted to leave it on, one high note, what's some words of encouragement that you would leave with us today? What would they be?
Yeah, I think in this season in life, I've really had to learn the importance of gratitude,
Oh,
um, and
yes.
just always being. It's easy to get overwhelmed or frustrated, and certainly with the pandemic that continues to evolve and create a lot of challenges. I think sometimes we forget about all the good things that do happen in life, and I think to bring our minds into that space, you have to be thankful and um, be able to express gratitude. And a friend of mine gave me a book recently that talks about a guy that went through and was able to find out how many people touched um, the process to be able for him to be able to enjoy a cup of coffee in his local coffee shop.
Oh,
And
wow.
he
Okay.
and he decided to then start to like intentionally, not necessarily reach out and thank them individually, but at least in his mind, like be thankful for the work that they did. And I think um, it's great. I mean, just even thinking about this work that you're doing, I mean,
Mm.
it's tremendous, and there's
Well,
so much to be thankful for you to be able to talk to the people that you have and ask the questions that you do, and
yeah.
um, yeah, there's just so much around us that we can be thankful for, and that's not to mean that the challenges we face we're trying to diminish them,
Yes.
um, but
Yeah.
we have to uplift the good and wonderful things that are still going on as well.
No, you touch on such a good point as far as gratitude, and I try to stay in that mind frame because it really will kind of put you in the right direction, right? To help you really be able to navigate life if you look at it from a mindset of gratitude, right? Everything we go through, even some of the stuff that is not as comfortable or not favorable, we still can be show appreciation for the lessons that we learned and how we learn like okay, let's not do that this time, we'll try it that way. I mean, so everything has is purpose, right? I mean, I try
Yep.
to look at it that way. So thank you for touching on that, and I really appreciate you for taking the time to be here today, and thank you for what you said. I love doing this. I love getting to know people. I think this helps us grow. We
Oh yeah.
have to learn each other in a sense of being able to connect and understanding. My experience is different than your experiences, but they're both beautiful, and we can share them and grow from them.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
true.
Well, yes. Thank you so much, Grant. I appreciate you. I see you got your Christmas tree on.
Yes, yes. I just left the tree lot for Christmas. So yeah, thank you for having me.
Awesome.
I really appreciate it.
Oh yes, no worries. And we will talk actually in about a week. We'll see each
That's
other
right.
a week or so. Well, take care and I appreciate you.
All right. Yes. Thank you. Take
All
care.
right, bye.